So today I am back with the part 2 of Do It Yourself Vanity inspired, I should say the Vanity Girl inspired vanity. This same word in one sentence, but today I'm going to show you guys how to put the frame onto your table or your vanity, whichever you're using. Everything I'll show you guys, most of everything I'm showing you guys in the video, you can get at your local Home Depot. If you already have a few of these items, obviously you won't have to spend money on buying them. I do want to stress that for everything you will be doing, you have to make sure you measure. At least measurements will help. That way you have everything even out so nothing will be off. And also make sure that everything you use is something that you know it won't damage your mirror or your lights or your cards or anything of the sort. So I will show you guys in depth how to do everything from the beginning to spray painting the board, how to basically drill everything onto the frame, your mirror and everything. The video might tend to be long, so if it is long, forgive me, but I wanted to explain everything in detail as much as possible, especially for someone who's never done something like this before, because I never did this before, but I kind of had an idea in my head how I wanted to do it, and after seeing my dad did a few things, I already know what to do on my own. So hopefully this will definitely help some of you guys out, because I've checked YouTube for a lot of these do-it-yourself videos, and there's not a lot, like literally maybe not any video that I've seen where it shows you how to do everything from start to finish. I have seen where people showed you or explain how to do it, but I'm going to show you guys everything from beginning to end, and that's basically it. So if you guys have any questions or comments, just put it down below and I'll try to answer everyone's comments as quickly as possible, and I'll list everything to where I got it from. If there's a link available, I put the link as well, and the name of everything and the price, so you guys can get an idea. But I definitely can tell you that it would not cost $300 or $700 if you actually do it yourself. I know the Vanity Girl setup with the table is like $7 something, and the mirror alone is $300. So that's it. Do enjoy the video, and on to the next video. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, so I'm back with part 2 of showing you guys how I'm going to finish creating my vanity. Hopefully all this is being captured on camera, but I got myself a drill from Home Depot. So let me show you guys a better view. So this is what it looks like. It's just a basic drill, and it's not one of the crazy expensive ones. This one was like 30 bucks. Because I needed that. Originally my husband was going to get someone to frame the mirror, but then I actually saw how I could do it myself, and I figured why not, because it actually works out cheaper. I picked up a spray paint. This is a universal one, and this is satin black. I didn't get the glossy black because my table is not glossy, so I got this one. I also picked up some screws, which you will need also if you have one of the mirrors like what I have, which is those frameless mirrors. So you do need some screws to put in the thing that holds them. Also, of course, I picked up drill bits and of course the drill driving thing for my my drill. And I picked up these corner brackets, which I'll put in the front part to stable it towards my table. The wood I have here is birch wood from Home Depot. It was longer than this. I can't remember the inches, but I have like the piece behind me right here somewhere. But I got it cut to the length that I wanted, which was 28 inches. And I actually have it 24 inches in length, which was the exact size of the mirror and the lights. They didn't have anything bigger, at least I didn't have the time to stretch, but this was fine. So I already got the wood cut. What I'm about to do is use this and spray paint the wood, because what I'm going to do is attach my mirror and my lights. Okay guys, so I've already spray painted my base wood, and now I'm just going to measure my mirror out. Guys, so I have my mirror set out already. Now this mirror, I got it from IKEA. It's basically a frameless mirror, and it comes with these little I don't know what you call these things, but it comes with the instruction. I'm just gonna take it out because this little cardboard at the bottom is gonna act as a guide for where to put the holes for me to put these little things. So first thing I'm going to do is measure the wood and make sure that it's even on both sides, because this wood is 28 inches and I want to make sure that the mirror will only be 24 inches in the middle and the other 2 inches on each end will remain that way, so I can use that for where I'll place the light. So I took the mirror out and now I'm just going to take a thumbtack, because the board is so black I won't be able to see where I mark. But this cardboard that comes with this mirror has a hole, which you can see right here, and I'm going to use the thumbtack as a way to guide me. So I basically put thumbtacks on each one of them already, which you might not be able to see, but I have one at the bottom right here. And these are all holes or guidelines, but I'm going to start with the first one to show you guys. And I'm going to take the top one first. And to be able to know which one is the top one has the round thing, and the bottom one has a square little, I don't know what this thing is called. But okay guys, so what I did was check and make sure my mirror can fit perfectly in where I drilled, and it fits perfectly guys, as you can clearly see. I know you can't see the bottom, but it fits just fine. And you just, to do that, well, at least with my mirror, you just have to basically hold the bottom and slip it out and slip it in. So that's basically it, but it fits really good. Now I'm just going to start adding the holes for me to put the light bars at the end, which will go basically like this, and they're basically the same length as the mirror, so that's not a problem at all. But I turned the bars so the screws will be behind and not at the side the way it was before. These things actually turned, so I'm going to start doing that now. And now I'm just going to take my mirror out, which is really easy. All you got to do is hold the mirror, lift out one side, then lift out this next side, and your mirror comes off. So what I'm about to do is make sure that the space is still even, and I'm going to take my tape measure again, and I'm just measuring out 2 inches each to make sure that everything fits neatly. I'm using a nail to mark this on the board, because if I use a pen I will not be able to see this at all. So I'm just going to use a nail. I'm basically engraving the line in the board. So that's that. There you go. So I want to make sure that the bar matches evenly up. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm now just going to take a nail and mark where I need to put holes for my screws. And that's what I'm just doing right there. And now I'm just going to take my drill, move this out the way. So I'm just going to start drilling holes where I can basically place my screws. And I'm just going to start doing this lightly, not too heavy. So I have the first screw basically in, but I'm not leaving it in there. I'm just going to switch my drill over and take, and I'm going to basically do the same thing on here and drill a hole here as well. You guys are seeing all of this. Switch this back. So I got my hole drilled to put my bars, and now I'm going to take my first bar and we're going to put it this way, because I am going to twist it once I basically placed it. Now if you want to make sure everything is fine, you just want to line your bar up with the same thing you have. And what I did was create a circle with a nail again to make sure I know where to place my bar and make sure it matches up evenly with the board. And I'm just going to take the first screw, place it in, flip my drill back, and start drilling again. So I have it in. All I gotta do is turn my bar to the side and make sure my wires are underneath neatly, and there you go. my light bar. My first light bar is on, so I'm gonna do the next one and come back and show you guys when I'm done. Attach both of the bars to my piece of birch wood, you know, that I've already drilled, and everything is attached so nothing cannot move. Now the last thing I have to do is to attach this to my desk, and I'm going to be using, there's a wood right here to add at the back of it to form like a base. Okay guys, so I drilled this wood into the back of my desk. Now I didn't show you guys how I do this because I needed both of my hands, and I would suggest if you're doing this, get two people to basically get someone and yourself, two people. Get someone and yourself to help you because it was a task. But what I did, because I was doing it alone, I took a nail and nailed into each section first to form the hole, and I also took a marker to measure in between where I wanted this wood to be, and I lined it up with the base at the bottom of the desk, which is the base right here. And I put 2 screws on each side so it's sturdy, and this is going to act as the base to hold my mirror onto. Okay guys, so I actually put the bulbs in because it's raining and the sun is going down, so you really couldn't see much, but I wanted to explain because I didn't show you guys this. Now I've added the frame onto the wood base that I showed you guys how I screwed earlier with the 2 screws onto the table. Now I've actually drilled everything in together, and I'll explain because I couldn't show you guys because I'm doing everything alone. Now these corner brackets I showed you guys in the beginning of the video, I got these from Home Depot. These were not actually the brackets I was going for. I found these while looking for brackets in the bracket section, and I felt like these were a better size compared to the size I was going to get because they're small enough and they can be hidden away behind the mirror, at least this part, and then I can put my glass on top without any problems. Now I don't know if you guys will see, but my finger, there's a space right here where my finger's at. I purposely did that because I want to be able to slide a piece of glass right here when I cut it without any problems. So before, if I didn't do that, this would have been sitting flush on the table. I don't want that, so I raised it up a little bit, which would be raising the frame up a little bit so that it be able to fit a piece of glass when it's cut neatly and flushly on the table without any problems. If not, I would have to get the glass custom cut a certain way to fit around these lights. Now these things I showed you guys how I screwed them in. Now I forgot to mention, these do not come with screws, neither do these things that hold the light. What I did, I went to Home Depot and I figured I don't want too small of a screw, but then I also like took a tape measure to measure the thickness of this and the thickness of this, and I basically decided to go with these screws, which are the 3/4 inch, and these are construction screws, and you get a quantity of 35. I picked these up mainly for that, and they actually work out really perfect. They're not peeking out the back too much, just a little bit, and even if it's coming out the back, that's fine. Nobody sees the back of the table anyway. But they were the right length for these in particular because these have like a little bit of thickness coming off the wall. Anyways, now I also used those same screws for these. The corner bracket does come with screws, but I felt like these screws were more sturdier, so I used the same screws, these, for the corner brackets. Now as you can tell, I definitely did this myself. Do you see how many holes this thing has trying to do this? Because I was trying to level it off the table, but not too much, not too high, and every time it would be slipping down back because I was doing it by myself. Now I actually had these 2 pegs from a IKEA something, I don't know what it was, but it came with IKEA stuff, and I guess these were extra pegs I didn't use, and they were in my box of like nails and stuff. I have a little box that I keep of stuff like that for when I want to do projects. But I actually took them out and I slipped one on the end and the other one on this end, and they were acting as a guide of depth for where I want the table to land with the frame. And this is what I used to form the little bit of space you see right there. These 2 pegs act as the width of thickness that I wanted the table, the frame to be off the table. So I had these slipped under there before, but I pulled them out obviously because I have them here. But I had put one here, and then I started drilling everything into place whilst they were still there, and then I actually pulled them out. So that's what I did with the front part of the table. And as you guys know, it's a computer desk. This explains why it has this hole. This came from IKEA as well. Now what I want to show you guys is the side. As you can tell, this is the frame and this is the base. These two pieces of wood actually are one single wood that I got from Home Depot, but I got this top part cut to the width and the length. Not really the length, because the length was 24 inches, which was perfect because it's the same length of this and the mirror. And I just got it cut to the width, and that was 28 inches, which I should have gotten cut a little bit bigger because the table is actually like 28.5, almost 29 inches, but that's fine. So the extra piece of wood, because you obviously have to take this with you when you buy the big piece of wood and get it cut, I decided to use this as a frame. You can use a little smaller item like a piece of wood to be a frame in the back. I felt like this was better because it was longer. It's going to act as a stronger base, and it's going to hold everything in place. I'm not saying if you use a smaller wood it wouldn't, but the width and everything just actually helps because the mirror is not that heavy. But thinking about adding mirror, lights, a lighting bar, all that's going to add weight to your item. So I basically added 2 more screws in the middle from what I showed you guys. So I have 6 screws holding the wood and the table base together. That's from like between here to the right here. And then up here I have 6 screws as well from the base of the backboard to this wood. So I have 2 here, 2 here, and 2 there. Now I didn't show you guys how I did this because like I said, I'm doing everything myself. What I did was measure with a marker in between where I wanted everything to fit neatly. Measurement is everything, guys. You have to know how to measure. If not, it's gonna come out lopsided. It's not gonna look professional. It's gonna look crazy. Now excuse my floor, I have a lot going on, as you guys can tell, drill, hammer, but that's what I did. Now I was going to actually drill the screws from the front. This is what explains this one hole right here coming all the way to the back, because I was afraid that, you see this little screw right here, I was afraid that was going to happen with these screws because they're longer and thicker, and I didn't want anything to scratch my mirror. But as I was doing it and I got it in, I realized it wasn't coming through this back. So I was like, if it's not coming through the back of this, it's not going to come through this way if I drill it in this way instead. So I decided to drill them all this way after I realized it wasn't going to come out like this. And there's nothing coming out the front, which is good. So nothing's going to scratch my mirror once I put it in. So this is everything all together. This is sturdy. It shakes, the table shakes. It's not shaking by itself. That is good. Now I opted for screws because I figure if we're gonna move, or I'm gonna move this table from this window, because I have my table by a window. If I move it from the window, I can always unscrew everything, and instead of having to lift this entire table with everything together. I've tried the screws unscrewing them myself. They come out fine with a screwdriver. You don't need a drill. And this is also a good way if you're planning on moving out your house. You just unscrew everything, pack it up, and then screw it back together when you get where you're going. Now choosing screws will also go with the thickness of your wood, which should be the thickness in inches. Now this wood is actually only a ½ an inch thick. So the guy explained to me, well, if they're ½ an inch thick and you're going to be using them together, why not try at least an inch of screw? If you go 1½ inch, it might be a little bit too much. And I'm happy I listened to him, because that 1½ inch would have been peeking out like this. So these are the screws I got, which are just like the ones I showed you before, but these are the 1 inch, and they're exactly the same screws, just the bigger, thicker one compared to this one. And I got all of these stuff from Home Depot. So the thickness and the length of your screws will go with how thick your wood is, how long your wood is, and all that stuff. You have to be able to measure all of that on your own, because for me, I didn't want too thick of a wood, but I didn't want too thin of a wood, because I wanted to be able to hold the frame, my mirror, and I didn't want it to be too thin that the mirror weighed the wood down or anything of the sort like that. So okay, so I wanted to show you guys this part, because I know I'll get asked on, did I use the plug, where did I like add the wiring and stuff. Now this card, as you guys remember, I cut this head off of these 2 cards when I bought them from Home Depot, and I said I was going to keep them because I could reuse them. Now I actually reused one of them to add it on to a piece of card I have that has a switch, which I'll show you guys in a second. Now I just taped it the same way, add negative, positive, put some wire caps and tape it up really good, because obviously it's electricity. So I got to reuse this, and I actually did not buy that thing from Home Depot because this actually works out better, and everything is hidden under the table, and this card has a switch, which you will see literally on the floor from the lighting, or I can show you guys right now with me hitting the switch. It turns it off, and turns it on. Now this is usually on the floor right here, and I just use my toe and basically flip it on and flip it off, because all of these cards are going to be hidden under here with my little plastic storage things that I have to store like hair stuff and whatnot, and they'll all be hidden under there where no one sees it. But I also wanted to show you guys, with me creating this space under my table, you'll be able to see right there. I don't know if you can see from that one, but maybe this one. The cards just run underneath the space and they fall at the back of my table, which is neatly out of the way except for this one, but the mirror is going to hide that, which is fine. But they all just under the table and they come right under here, falling neatly, which is fine. Guys, so I'm back with everything complete. This is the entire setup. I don't want to stand in front of the camera because I look a hot mess, but there's my storage thing covering the wires, and there is my card right there. I'll use is my toe and turn it off and turn it off, and it works out just really well. But this is everything put together, and as you guys can see, I actually spray painted the base of this mirror that I got, and I just love the way it looks. It matches the table. The last thing I'm going to do is get a fresh piece of wallpaper, which is the damask print, and I'm going to measure it out like I did with this one. I'm going to use Mod Podge and just place it on the table and then put my glass. That's the last thing I have to do, is get my glass cut, and I already got the measurements for that, and I'm just going to go get it cut. So I don't want to beat the video because I look a mess, but everything is in place. I'll not do a tour in the vanity, all that stuff, because this is not what it's about, but I just wanted to show you guys how everything looks completed.